Hi everyone, welcome back to another session where we deep dive into the future of the charts. In next few minutes, I'm going to give you a perspective that will completely change the way you look at the markets. Think this as your trading compass, as a guide that points you in the right direction no matter how complex the charts may seem. Now, what do you mean by trading compass? Well, in trading, there are four big ways people try to predict the future. We are not here to predict the future, but you can be a great fundamental analyst who's expecting market to release on the next week data with respect to retail sales, or even when the CAD BOC government Macklem speaks, or AUD when the CPI data year on year releases, or on Thursday where we have the prelims GDP numbers. Last May 29th when we had the numbers, we have seen a good spike in gold with respect to unemployment claims, whether the numbers are beating or miss with respect to 231k, or the GDP Canadian dollar, or the core PC price index month on Friday. So we went through an eventful analysis. It can be FOMC, CPI, GDP, or any kind of data which you are trying to be in the part of big economic drivers. If you are strong here, you can even anticipate how the currencies and economies will react with respect to the numbers, and you have to be pretty quick enough to understand the fundamental analysis and play around the market accordingly. But you can also be a technical analyst who's looking at the charts with respect to it can be watching the liquidity and imbalance zone. It could be like breakup structures, ascending and descending patterns, channels, fake outs, moving averages, or RSI divergence, Fibonacci retracement. All the sorts of charts tell their own stories, right? You can be a chart reader and analyst. And what we are going to do, we are going to do both fundamentals and technicals. On top of that, there are two other major factors which plays out, which most of the people try to ignore it with respect to sentimental analysis, where the risk on risk off indicators are trading with respect to AUD, JPY, BTC, copper, JPN 225, NASDAQ, S&P 500, USD, and the volatility index, gold. So you can clearly see that here major risk on assets. People are trying to take risk on Friday with respect to Powell's speech and with respect to the rate cut expectations, and there seems to be a pre-booking of the profits, which I have seen myself, which we will come back, or even you can discuss with respect to a statistical or historical analysis going back in time from all the way from 1952, and then start with what is going to happen with respect to S&P 500. Over these years, we have seen only few months were in August in 1952, 54, 64, 95, 97, and 2016, 2023 were negative. Rest of the months, it was a good season for S&P 500 as well. So are we going to end up this particular month in green, or how are we going to end up this whole year? Where we are getting into 35th week of our analysis. When we say 35th week, it's been already on our second quarter, and this everything sounds like a lot, but if you imagine from a perspective of a trader who's having a 33% of data in front of us before making any decision, because I can go back to the charts and play around similar patterns wherein I can say that okay, after this both liquidity have been swept in gold before the FOMC the Powell speech before 3 p.m. where the 1:30 itself we have seen a massive seller's trap. You can go back in time and slightly go into that particular candle and say that okay, this is what we were anticipating and this is what happened. It is easy to say that okay, Here massive sellers got trapped where we got out from our positions last week, and you can see that even though 4.864k traders were participating on this particular candle, only 871 was the delta, and even we got the POC above the wick, and it was below the value areas, and a massive sell-off happened. Even the quantity, if you observe closely, you can even see that more than 119, 71, 89, most of them early sellers got out. But let us deep dive into what is going to happen with respect to this particular area. Even in the buying, we have seen a good buying pressure. You can see buy side imbalance have been accumulated here with respect to good volume, strength in volume as well. But unfortunately, if you scroll down to 4 hours chart, so particularly we will start with gold and then we will move on with all the other charts as well. Last week we were expecting a great move inside this particular area, a no trading zone, and then market could take up the entire liquidity and move towards upside. But this is my observed points for this particular week. Let's say you can see that whole 4-hour candle, which is open from 3, pushed upside when the news hits the markets, and more than a 97k participants are there. But net delta is only 1.45, wherein most of the traders are adding to their selling positions as well. So let us go back in time what has happened with respect to 20 days. So if I take you through the 20 days time period, let me remove all the patterns and charts. You can see that market have taken this liquidity and moved all the way to 50% of that level, and then regaining its strength. So Friday in our community we have posted, not Friday, Thursday itself we have posted that this have changed to 20-day moving days, and we have left with another 26 days, which is on a calendar days. But at the same time we have, let's say, 20 trading sessions left for this particular candle to close. So even if you are able to capture a 50% of the major move which is going to happen with respect to this particular 20 days candle, will be much more better than 90% of the traders out there. And that's the whole point of doing this analysis, right? So if you look around, you can see that there is a point of interest which is formed below this particular area. At the same time, you can go back in time and check for the weekly structural bullish pennant pattern, or you can even say that a symmetrical triangular pattern which is formed, and market have tried pushing upside. This is the first time market pushed upside in March 31st and following on, and then followed by 16th June, and then followed by 4th August this month, and then it is compressing inside this range. So even you can drill down to, let's say, daily time frame. So if I just remove this particular thing, okay, the next week, on starting with low volume on Monday, this is what I anticipate, and there is a huge shorting opportunity with respect to gold. Why I'm not looking into long opportunities rather than short? This is not right after Monday opening you go short and and make money. No, this is a structure which I'm looking forward in the coming days. If the Monday plays out like this, okay, so the Monday could be playing out, or the whole week is playing out. Let me take you through the smaller time frame. It will be much more easy for us to understand. So this is the symmetrical pattern which we were discussing, and inside this pattern we have seen a solid buy side orders with respect to balancing this sell side price action, buyers are able to sustain the momentum. So the first thing what I'll be looking for, a consolidation downside move where we have seen the similar move which has happened with respect to BTC as well. If you closely watch, even on BTC we had this great move which has happened on that particular news event where people are expecting to be done with the rate cuts in the coming September. But let's say this is inside the sellers area. If you closely watch, you can clearly see that we have multiple sell side imbalances and there was a liquidity lagging, or all the weak players who have entered market shorting here, including us. But fortunately we got at the right time at the right moment and updated in our community as well before this whole rally has happened. I don't have a regret because this was a huge move and we didn't capitalize that, but unfortunately we cannot go beyond each and every move in the market. Wherever we have an edge and odds are playing in our favor, we can expect a pattern recognized in numbers game in it. So the similar pattern, if we get on Monday, we can even anticipate a similar move happening with respect to gold, and I'll be closely watching at this 50% area of the whole move, where the buyers or sellers are taking advantage, or are they able to sustain with respect to Monday. If Monday is giving us a solid indecision move, then followed by Tuesday, we can even expect after this consolidation, great consolidation, we can have a manipulation towards on Tuesday, and then Wednesday starting to distribute and Thursday to continue with the distribution is what I'm expecting. So if this plays out well, then I'll be keen to look for shorting opportunity within this sell side imbalance. Earlier it was acting as a good support and that has been broken. This particular area is what I'm more interested in, which is like 3429 levels to 3439 levels, where we have a solid sellers are sitting with respect to their limit orders. I have gone through deep down into this particular sell side imbalance, but at the same time that is very low. Even market can push towards upside and even sellers are sitting at this area. And if you closely observe, the value areas which is tapped below was the monthly value area, the yellow color one which you can see. And if you closely watch and see the value area at 68%, we might get a buyer's trap. So what I'll be looking for this whole week, similar to this particular candle, similar to this 15 minutes candle, if you get a good opportunity to enter at the buyer's traps, where in last couple of days what we have observed, most of the sellers traps have been happened, where market was trying to push downside but the sellers got trapped below the value area and then market have pushed upside. So I'll be looking for this particular week where the buyers are getting trapped, because we are still inside the point of interest with respect to the long-term trend. With respect to 20 days, we still have this whole area of liquidity to be taken around 3250. If the market is moving upside with respect to this particular view, I will change my bias into buys if the market is able to sustain above this particular range, which is 3442 with respect to let's say futures chart. Why I'm saying that there is a possibility of market can beat even with respect to that particular area. Let's say if you go back in time, this is where market have given a structural entry with respect to previous symmetrical triangle, and still looking at the charts, we haven't seen a similar pattern. We have seen a multiple set of range wherein playing inside and then breaking out towards upside, and that had a huge rally. but this time it is breaking towards downside and retesting into that particular POI. This is the weekly POI which I'm talking about. So inside this weekly POI, if I get an opportunity within spot charts, let us go back in time and check for the 4 hours. It's a weekly order block which has been acting as a support right now, breaking above, but we will have to closely watch what happens right after the key level is being taken out. The next 4-hour candles, if it is able to sustain above 3364, then for till the new 7 and then before Thursday, I'll be looking for opportunities scalping on the long side unless 3364 is broken and sustaining. Even at this area, so this is the whole structure which I'll be looking for on the lower time frame. If you are new to structural analysis with respect to pure charts, then make sure that you guys are joining into the community where I post on a live analysis as well. So let us get back into BTC. So if you're looking at BTC, and we can clearly see that there is a solid consolidation happened and a manipulation. The consolidation started right after booking the huge profit at 122 levels, and then from 15th July the consolidation ended at 31st July. Then the manipulation started taking out both players out, and the distribution started with respect to exactly at the manipulation and consolidation area where the sell side imbalance, sellers trading it aggressively, but still market haven't taken out the imbalance which is formed while it is moving towards upside. So this whole area, this whole order block which has caused this entire move, I believe should act as a magnet where it is trying to tap here even below the trendline liquidity which has formed from 104 levels. So on a daily bias, market have already started selling off. Even a new entry at Friday night would have given 115 to 114 $1,000 move, but those who are entering this particular area could play around within choppy sessions. That's what I'm expecting. But from here, if the sellers are able to sustain below this level 113, then I'm expecting a sharp fall will happen at 110 levels. Still with the same bias, because when you look at NASDAQ, a similar pattern played out in NASDAQ as well. After 50% of the first target being achieved, we posted in our community that it's safe to move out our profits and book some profits and wait for the reactions. This particular thing has already happened, and if I get an opportunity to enter the market, if the market is not able to sustain within this whole range, because these are all probability, right? If the market is not able to sustain this whole level, then I'm still expecting the buyers to continue and sustain from the market and tap into 22,692 in the coming days. With respect to DXY, still market have tried pushing upside, but the trend line liquidity might seems to be taken out, and the low should be a protected low, because you can clearly see that on a DXY. Let me just go back in another chart where I think I have marked all these. Yeah, this particular consolidation and then manipulation towards distributing towards downside. Now after taking out this whole liquidity area for this particular narration and the point of interest, we could see that market have re-tapped into the point of interest. So what we can look for the coming days, let me just change this, even a new long position at this area would have given a great move with respect to this $4 move towards upside. That's what I'm anticipating. Even that could rally up to the weekly POI and a 50% of the whole structure, which is like 105. So I'll be cautious from this level 101,763, but at the same time still that view is intact. Let's go back and check what is happening with respect to cable. So this area if you go back and check in 20 days time frame, the whole trend line is trying to give a breakout. It earlier did a fake out and then pushed downside, and even trying to give a breakout. If this breakout is not able to sustain, so it has to sustain above this level 1.37395 levels. But if it is not able to sustain, looking at the market from a risk perspective, this seems quite interesting because we have a low risk and a high reward probabilities. Even pushing this all the way to 1.13465 in the next 2 quarters for this whole year could be a long-term play. But we will re-watch those scenarios after buyers are not able to sustain from this level, because it has tapped multiple levels. What I've seen with respect to charts, if you get a good tap on these levels, usually if you have a whole move, okay, let's imagine this particular area have given if you mark this whole structure and get a POI which could be inside this imbalance and taking out this trend line liquidity, we could see a good rally up to this level. And then if the dollar weakens, this could play out in the dollar strengthening scenario as well, which is the 50% of the dollar moving up to 101, 102, 105 levels. And then if it dumps, then this could be a true breakout and a retest towards the 50% of the external structure. Or if the dollar strengthens again, even still we can get the whole range moving towards downside and then pushing upside. So this could be a rally where we can expect for this whole year. This could be a rally where the sellers are booking their profits, and this could be a rally where it is forming an internal structure. So even though in the longer time frame on a weekly structure you can see a steep line, but inside that we could even get a similar structure like this, and then giving a breakup structure towards upside and then moving towards upside. So this is the structure which I'm anticipating in cable, similar to Euro USD as well. So back in Bank Nifty, we got a good sell side position starting from 57,234 levels posted on our community, and even the market was pushing upside on the couple of days after this consolidation. I was looking for the short opportunities, and that have been playing out really well. On the next days, market could even open a gap up and tap into this level, but closing should be expecting around 53,574 for this particular month in August. So that's it from my end. Let's say DAX we haven't discussed. DAX I'll be looking for the balanced price range is taking a support. Even with respect to 20 days moving average, we can see 20 days candles, we can see that a good buy side imbalances are stacking up, and this balanced price range where the sellers have dominated earlier have now balanced with the buyers, and then buyers are taking support with respect to here. Even we can see that as protected low is being formed inside the balanced price range. If the market is not able to fall back beyond this level. So even this particular area, we can keep it as a strong stop loss. I'll be looking for entering the market with respect to keeping the stop loss, and it's an all-time higher, right? So we don't know where the targets we can keep, but looking at the lower time frame, if any structural shift is happening with respect to the target, usually what happens when we have a solid trend line breakout similar to this, and if we get a breakout from this level keeping a stop loss, ideally a 1:3 itself could be the target. 250 point with respect to 750 points towards upside, 25,200 could be on DAX way within the this particular quarter. So this is going to be the positional biases, keeping it and trading inside that positional biases. So that's it from my end. Do your own analysis and do let me know what you guys think with respect to technicals, fundamentals, and sentimental analysis. You guys can, I can, post this particular thing on the description so that you guys can go back and check in time. At the same, do join if you are completely new to the video, watching for first time. Link in description is given, and you guys can be a part of great community where the traders post their analysis. Also, you can navigate the market with confidence with your own analysis. Thank you so much, and wish you nothing less than success ahead.